After you identify the drawing that you're going to recreate, one of the things you will need to do is set up your drawing environment. So if you kind of take a look at this pneumatic drawing that's here, you will notice that there aren't any dimensions or anything of that nature on this drawing. So when you first open up your template in AutoCAD and you get ready to start a new drawing in AutoCAD, since this particular drawing doesn't have any dimensions, it just depends on what units you want to produce this in. When you start these template files, the the AutoCAD file, that is a file that is in English or imperial units. You have another template, which is the AutoCAD ISO. This particular template will produce the drawing in metric units. So it just depends on what units you're used to using. In this particular case, since the drawing has no dimensions, it just depends on you. And probably since we're in the United States, you're probably going to be more prone to using the AutoCAD template file because that one is the one that's already set up in English units. So after you select the appropriate template file, you will select Open. This will give you your drawing environment here. After you select that template, one of the things you may want to do is set up your units. So if you go to Drawing Utilities and go to Units, this will allow you to set up the units according to how, so the system will understand what your input's going to be. If you look here where it says type, you have the different types of units: architectural, decimal, engineering, fractional, scientific. You can also set the precision, so based off of whatever type you have, then you have the precision. Since this is decimal, you can set it to go out 1, 2, 3, 4 decimal places. If you change this to fractional, then you can set the precision according to fractions of an inch. So you can kind of see based off of the type how the precision will be set up. So again, as you're setting up your drawing environment, based on what units you want to input, that's how you will set up this type. So again, by this being a drawing that has no dimensions in it, decimal units may be what you want to set it to, or fractional. Those might be the two options that are there. If this was like a floor plan, then architectural obviously would be the setup. If this was a site plan you were drawing, then probably engineering units would be how you would set these up. So again, based off of this being in imperial units, since you chose the AutoCAD.dwt file, these will be your options. I'll select OK. The other thing that you will pay attention to will be, as you're setting this up, is based off of the composition of the drawing. Another thing that you are going to need to set up are going to be your layers. Okay, and that's going to be basically set up based off of the composition of the drawing. If you look here, you have, like in these particular cases, you have components that are in this pneumatic drawing. So that would be one of the layers that you would end up setting up in AutoCAD. So in order to, again, you can learn how to set up a layer, look at some other resources on how to do that. But you would basically create your layers in the layer properties and set up your layers here accordingly. So again, the layers are going to be driven by whatever type of drawing that you are using. If you are, in this particular case, you have components, that would be probably a layer, or symbols, that might be another layer name that you use. You also in this have like these conductor lines or pipes. Again, by this being pneumatic, it could be pipes or what have you. If this was an electronic diagram, then those would be like conductors. Okay, so that might be another layer that you would create. I would say if this is pneumatic, all right, the pipes, those would be your your connections or connection lines. Okay. The other thing that you see in this that's obvious is you have text, and these text items pretty much are labeling the components, so you know what the components are. So again, text might be another layer that you have. So again, the layers are going to be driven by the composition of the drawing. If there are dimensions in this drawing, then you would have dimensions would be a layer that you would have. So as you are setting up your drawing environment, the important pieces here are going to be I'll close this. Selecting the correct template file. Again, depending on what type of drawing you're using or creating, setting up the units and precision of the units, and establishing the layers. And this is going to be based on the drawing composition. So again, the elements that are in the drawing, that's going to drive the layers.